They say secondary school is supposed to be the best time of your life. For her, it was a nightmare. She had just joined SS1 on a scholarship, a beautiful girl with bright eyes and a warm smile, earning her place through hard work and determination. Coming from a humble background, she knew she had to prove herself. But instead of admiration, she was met with resentment. She was quiet, always sitting alone, her nose buried in a book, trying to disappear. She didn't chase popularity or crave attention. Maybe that's why they chose her. At first, it was small. She was often the last one chosen for group assignments, her books accidentally knocked from her hands. They made sure she had nowhere to sit during break. She convinced herself it wasn't a big deal, that they'd get bored. But they didn't. The whispers grew louder. Notes stuffed into her desk read, "Loser, freak, nobody wants you here." Then, one day, she found her chair in class smeared with gum. When she sat down, laughter erupted, cutting through her like a blade. She ran to the girls' toilet, tears threatening to spill, trying to scrub the gum off her uniform. And I did nothing. I hated myself for it. Then came the flyers. One morning, she walked into school to find her face plastered on printed papers scattered across the compound. The words beneath her picture read, "Most Useless Student Award." She stood frozen, surrounded by laughter. Her stomach twisted. Her hands shook. The worst part. No one helped her. Not the teachers. Not the students. Some even laughed along. She was alone. Until that day. I saw a group of them corner her near the assembly hall. "Why do you even come to school?" one sneered, shoving her. Something inside me snapped. "Enough," I said, stepping between them. The hallway fell silent. "What's your problem?" one scoffed. "You," I said. "Picking on someone just because you can. That's pathetic." Bullies thrive on fear, on silence. When someone speaks up, it rattles them. One muttered something and walked away. The others followed. She looked at me, wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe someone had finally stood up for her. That was the moment everything changed. But the worst wasn't over. One day, she was walking home from school when she heard footsteps behind her. Fast. Close. Her heart pounded. She quickened her pace. A shove from behind sent her stumbling onto the dusty roadside. "Where do you think you're going?" one sneered. They surrounded her. Yanked off her backpack. Her exercise books scattered on the ground. A hard push knocked her down, scraping her hands against the gravel. She called up, bracing for more. But they were done. They walked away, laughing. She lay there, staring at the sky, feeling numb. Feeling broken. That night, she cried herself to sleep. She wanted it all to stop. The pain. The loneliness. The feeling of being invisible, worthless. Maybe disappearing was the only way to make the pain go away. But then, a tiny voice inside her whispered, "No." It was weak. Almost drowned out. But it was there. The next morning, she spoke up. She told her parents everything. The bullying. The fear. The nights she spent sobbing, hoping for it to end. She braced for disappointment, for them to tell her to toughen up. But they didn't. They listened. They acted. We walked into the principal's office together. The truth, which had been her burden alone for so long, was finally laid out. The school had no choice but to act. The bullies were confronted. Some suspended. Teachers paid attention. Counselors reached out. And for the first time in years, she felt seen. Healing didn't happen overnight. The scars remained. But their power over her, that began to fade. Slowly, she reclaimed her life. She found people who cared. She found her voice. She learned that silence was the biggest weapon bullies had. And by breaking it, she took away their power. If you're going through this, listen to me, you are not alone. You are not weak. And no matter what they say, you matter. Speak up. Reach out. Fight back. Secondary school tried to break her. It almost did. But today, she stands, not as a victim but as a survivor.